Hello class, this is our first instructional video and I am going to show you how to write a summary. So we will be discussing the summary of Deborah Lieberman's Stop Scaring Students. Before we jump into writing, I need to show you a few quick things about Mla Format and how to set your paper up in Mla Format. So the first thing you want to do is to double click in the header. You're going to tab over and type your last name. Now I'm going to pretend that my last name is Student. I am Jane Student. Okay? After you type your last name, hit the space bar and go up to Insert, then Page Number, Current Position, and Plain Number. So now that I've done that, every page that I type will have my last name and the correct page number. Alright? I'm going to go back to Home. The default on my computer is set to 11-point font, so I need to change that to 12-point font. I'm going to click out of my header, and now I'm going to begin my the heading for every MLA document that you write. Okay, this is only on the first page. It is your name, your instructor's name, the name of the class, and the submission date. Notice that MLA likes the submission date day, month, and then year. There is no punctuation in the date. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and fix my font. There are two acceptable fonts for Mla Format. One is Calibri, which is what I'm using, and the other is Times New Roman. I also need to check my spacing, so I'm going to highlight this one more time. Go down to Paragraph. Now, when you get to spacing, notice that the default on my computer is set to 8-point. I do not want 8-point. I want to go down to 0, and I want my line spacing on double. See, that made a difference. Now I'm going to come down. MLA documents have a title, all of them, even if it's something short like what we're writing. So I'm going to kind of give it a generic title and center it. Now I'm going to come down and indent, and I'm ready to start writing. Alright, so I will flip over to the template. You should have this in front of you. This is the template for the summary that we're going to use. As you can see, it is made up of 11 sentences, a topic sentence, 3 sentences for big idea number 1, 3 sentences for big idea number 2, and 3 sentences for big idea number 3. Then sentence 11, of course, is your conclusion. Okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about is our topic sentence. In the topic sentence, make sure that you include the author's name and the title of the work. Then you're going to say something general about the article. All right, so I'm going back to my document. So I'm going to start. In Stop Scaring Students, Deborah Lieberman argues that a college education is still a valuable tool in today's world. Something really general. That is her argument. She's an advocate for college education regardless of what other people might say. She thinks it's still important. Okay? I'm going to go back to my template. You will see that sentence 2 is where I state my first big idea. The big ideas that we compiled in our forum are listed on the middle page, and you can look at them for this week. It tells the 3 big ideas that we'll be using. If you would like to use different big ideas, that is completely up to you. The first one that I'm going to talk about is Lieberman discussing how college is an investment that will pay off. Okay, so I'm just going to simply state that. Now, notice right here, I'm going to start with the word initially. And what the word initially does is it kind of transitions the reader from the topic sentence, the introduction, to the first point. So initially basically means this is the first point that I'm going to make. So it's just a transition phrase. All right. So I'm going to call her Lieberman, and that is a rule when you do any kind of formal writing. You never refer to the author as Deborah or use her first name. Once you introduce her here as Deborah Lieberman, You don't need to call her Deborah anymore. You can just refer to her with her last name. All right, so initially, Lieberman discusses how college is an investment that pays off. Okay, very simple. I'm stating my first big idea. Now let's look at sentence 3. In sentence 3, this is where you introduce the proof. Okay, I need some proof from the article that shows big idea number 1. All right, so I'm going to go to the article. Here it is. And I need some proof that college is an investment that pays off. And right here, this whole long thing is proof, is some data that Lieberman pulled. And it suggests that adults with a college education were twice as likely to be employed as those who had earned only a high school diploma. All right, I really like this. I want to put it in my paper. Now, before you put it in your paper, there's a couple of things that you need to do. So let me go back to my Word document. Now, I'm just going to write a few notes for you right here. First, whenever you put evidence into your paper, it has 3 parts. All right, you have the signal phrase, you have the evidence, and then you have the citation. Okay, so let's talk about those. A signal phrase is basically exactly what it says it is. It's a phrase that signals to the reader that you are about to introduce words or ideas that do not belong to you. All right, so we're going to do a really easy one. According to the author. There's our signal phrase. All right. Then, this is where you drop your evidence. Now, when you use evidence, you have to decide how you want to format it. You can directly quote it. You can paraphrase it, which means put it into your own words. Or you can summarize some longer material into a shorter version. Now, I personally really like the way that the author gave this data right here. I really like this. So I think I'm going to directly quote her by using quotation marks. The one problem I might run into is that I think this is way too long to use. So as I read it, I see that I don't really need this first part at all. I don't need that. I only need from adults to diploma. Okay? So in order to show the reader that there is more to the sentence that I am not including, this is what you do. First, you start with your quotation marks. Then, you do an ellipsis, also known as ... Okay? So I need an ellipsis. That shows the reader that there is more to this quote that I am not including. I just want the good part. All right? So I'm going to take the lazy way out. And I'm just going to copy that and paste it into my document. Okay, I'm going to change my font. Remember, Calibri or Times New Roman, 12 point. I think my color is changing too. Okay, so now that I have my quote, got my signal phrase according to the author, I have my evidence, now it's time for the citation. Okay, so this is how you do the citation. First, I'm going to end with another set of quotation marks. Then I'm going to do a space, parentheses, and MLA calls for author's last name and page number, and then the period. All right, now this is a good time to teach you a little lesson about citations. If I did not refer to the author as the author here, if I refer to her as Lieberman in my signal phrase, then I would not need to write her name in parentheses. I could simply cite with the number 1. Okay? So if I have the author's last name in the signal phrase, I do not need to put it in the citation. But I like the way the author sounded better. So because I called her the author and not by Lieberman, that is why I need the author's last name and page number in the citation. All right, so We've got our topic sentence. We have sentence number 2, which expresses big idea number 1, and we have our evidence. I'm going to go back and look at sentence number 4. Sentence number 4 is commentary, and basically what that means is it's a statement of analysis or interpretation that shows the link between sentence 2 and sentence 3. So this is your chance to tell the reader what it all means. Why is this important? What does it all mean? So that's what we're going to do right here. Okay, so right after this, I'm going to start with this means that even during times of recession, when jobs are scarce, those with college degrees are more marketable to employers than those with only high school diplomas. Okay, so I've got my commentary. That's what it all means. At this point, I'm ready to move on to sentence 5, which will introduce big idea number 2. Okay, I hope that this will help you complete the rest of your summary. If you need help with transition phrases, like for example, if I was starting this next sentence, I might just use a really simple transition phrase like next, and then I would begin expressing big idea number 2. All right, go back here. And for your concluding sentence, that seems to be the hardest part for some people. I'm going to give you a couple of transitional phrases that you might want to use. In conclusion, okay, that's a good one. In summary, to close. So think about any of those that you might want to use. Also, if you Google transition phrases for conclusion, it will show you tons of listings for words that you can choose from. All right, I hope that this instructional video helped you. I look forward to reading your summaries. Remember, they are due on Monday, February 8th by 11:55 p.m. If you need help with any of this, please don't hesitate to email me, or if you're on campus, stop by and see me. See you in the next video.